This week's question is about refs, and if there are any refs watching, they probably hate me by now because I'm always complaining about the refs, and for that I don't apologise. So, when I used to be the club coach at Wembley Squash Centre, I was very lucky because I managed to get to hit with all the sort of visiting professionals, so I was incredibly lucky there. Often there'd be Hidi Jahan and his brother, who I am shameful to admit I've forgotten his brother's name. And then be a few others, Mirza Mangool, and quite a few other Pakistani players. And they would often call me and ask me to ref for them. And I said, why? It's just practice matches. No, we need a ref. And they were playing for money. They always seem to play for money. And I didn't ref for them very long because they kept arguing with me, and it was like, I'm not doing this. I don't want to get in the way of. I don't want to be in the middle of a fight. And what they used to do was they used to play one game. One player would mark be the ref, and then the next game the other player would mark it, and they would sort of, hope that it would even out. But I don't mean any disrespect to these players, but they would just basically, if they marked, it was their point. It was that simple. It was terrible. But it does make me wonder what would happen nowadays if we just, in professional matches, if you just said, no, there's no ref. You flick a coin, the receiver is the one who calls the point. And then maybe after the match, there's some kind of analysis to see whether, people were really cheating or whether they, were trying to be honest. I mean, I don't know. Or whether you just said, the first game is for one player, the second game is for the next player. And then if there's a fifth game, then you alternate between the calls or something like that. Now, the reason for my thinking this is that refereeing is such an important part of the game because it changes the outcomes of matches, and I know it's an incredibly difficult job, but I live in this dream world where I'm so naive. I recognise that, and I don't apologise for it either. I'd love to live in a world where we didn't need refs. I'd love to live in a squash world. I should put some silly music now and some lights, but I'd love to live in a sort of a squash world where the rules were a little bit simpler. I mean, that might be possible, but we didn't need refs, and that we could just trust each other. And if there was any doubt, then, we'd have to just maybe play a let. But the world's not like that, because there are mean and there are nasty people, and there are people who cheat. Hopefully not so many in squash, but there are. And there are some people who I would never want to go on court with again, because they are horrible, horrible people. And I'm sorry if that sort of doesn't sound very nice, but it's true. It's true. These people purposefully, put the elbow in. They purposefully run into you. They purposefully, do things to break your concentration. And I recognise that there's, we're in a competition here. We're playing a match. You can't be, all, butterflies and roses, if that makes sense. What I'm saying is that there is a line between purposefully cheating and just doing your best within the rules. And I'd love to live in a world where we didn't need refs, and that would be so nice. But we can't. We will never, we will never do it. So I want to hear your thoughts about that. Have you ever played matches without refs and had a lot of trouble? Have you ever played matches without refs and it went really smoothly, and you had this system where, you called lets and everything was a let or something? I mean, that might be one solution. I don't think it's a good solution, but it's one solution. So what are your thoughts? What would happen to all squash, especially professional squash, if there were no refs?